I have the honor to introduce our keynote speaker today. He's not a stranger, he's a good friend of RCSA. And I am sorry I cut your bio, Jon Heymann. He's a professional background spanning 35 years that ranges from private ministry to public penitentiaries. He is now president of his consulting firm and recently the CEO of the Jacksonville Children's Commission, which provided $38 million to support numerous child-serving nonprofits. He holds a master's degree in education from the University of Florida and has completed graduate work in psychology and doctoral work at the University of Florida. Clemson University awarded Heymann the Crystal Award, their top national award for his work in dropout prevention. Stanford University named Heymann a transformational leader. Mr. Heymann is in many organizations' board at the national level and state level, like Foundations Inc. Philadelphia, board of member of both University of Florida, Florida After School Network, Early Learning Coalition, and many. And he has been a keynote speaker in numerous national conventions, like youth conferences, business schools, colleges, civic groups, and many. He and his wife live in Jacksonville and have 3 children. He believes that you can't burn out until you have caught on fire. He also believes that our grandest hour has yet to be lived, and your greatest accomplishments have yet to be achieved by those who dare to be great. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me welcoming Mr. Jon Heymann.
Wow, it is bright up here. Now I won't be scared about the crowd. I noticed that the microphone is over on this side, so distinguished faculty, distinguished administration, distinguished parents, friends and guests of the graduating seniors, thank you for being here tonight. And obviously we have over 100 seniors sitting over here to my right, to your left. Thank you, Dr. T, for that. That's right. Thank you, Dr. T, for that introduction. That was very, very nice. I've thought in my mind at times, I'm going to walk over here because I don't want you all to feel neglected. I've wondered sometimes, what does the word senior mean? Do you ever wonder? I mean, it's a noun. I'm not even sure if the seniors have thought about it. It doesn't actually mean 4th year in high school. It doesn't mean that you're taller than the freshmen. You weigh more than the sophomores. It doesn't mean any of those things. It's a noun. So if you look at it and change it into an adjective, there's only one word in the American language that we attach the word senior to. An adjective senior, a noun citizen, a senior citizen. Wait a minute. That means these guys are 65 years old? Of course it doesn't mean that. So that's not what the word means. What does the word mean? Well, if you go into the old day dictionaries, you saw the etymology. I'm not even sure they do that anymore. But the etymology of the word has it closest to the word senile. So that's not it either. So the only word I could find comes from the Romans, and it was senex. We get our word senator from it. We get our word senior from it. And it means nobility and great above average ability. It's an amazing word when you look at it. It has nothing to do with how many years you've spent in school. That's what it means. But words are powerful, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to deal with 3 major words tonight and advice I want to give to the seniors. But words are powerful. When you think of the introduction that Dr. T just said, you notice that I have degrees behind my name, I have labels, and I have titles. All 3 are nouns, not adjectives. In fact, a better introduction, but you probably wouldn't like it as much, because most adults, when you ask an adult, what do you do or who are you, you answer in the form of a noun. You say, I'm a doctor, I'm an architect, I'm an athlete, I'm a teacher, I'm a an environmentalist. We don't answer in the form of an adjective. Gee, what are you? Well, I'm kind, I'm persistent, I'm dependable, I'm reliable, I'm honest. Doctor. I'm an honest, reliable, dependable lawyer. Now, I said that to 400 lawyers and they all laughed. So they laugh at their own profession, believe me. But we don't answer in the form of an adjective. So even in the word senior, it's a noun, it's not an adjective. I mean, there are words that make no sense when you think about them. Why do they have such power to them? How did the old song of 30-something years ago become popular? Here she comes, just a-walking down the street singing, do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. You all know it. Doesn't matter, that was, I think it was early 70s. Snapping her fingers and shuffling her feet, singing do-wah-diddy-diddy-dum-diddy-do. We don't know what that word means, but you get a picture in your mind of a very happy person because words are powerful. There is the holiday song, Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly. Fa-la-la-la-la, la-la-la-la. It sounded like the author of the song didn't finish the song, went to a publisher and said, this is what I think it ought to sound like. And the publisher of the song said, hey, we don't have any time for you to finish it. Let's just put fa-la-la-la-la-la-la-la-la in it. But we get the joyful sound, we get the joyful idea just from nonsense words. How about the words happy birthday? You can go to a restaurant and the wait staff will run up to some guest in the restaurant and start singing happy birthday. And it doesn't matter that the person is a total stranger. You will turn and look. You might even join in the singing. But certainly after it's done, a lot of the patrons in the restaurant clap for the person that just celebrated. Hey, wait a minute. Somebody sang happy birthday to a total stranger and you reacted to it, as we often do in restaurants. So I'm in Clearwater a number of years ago. I had my two boys with me. They were younger, obviously. And I'm speaking at a national convention. And we had just gone to a restaurant and that happened. So I said to the boys, I said, that's kind of interesting that you can sing happy birthday and actually affect the whole crowd in the restaurant. And they go, what are you talking about, Dad? I said, well, can you do that in an elevator? And they said, what? And I said, so we got onto the elevator at the hotel that we were staying at, and it was packed. So I said, in front of my boys and to the folks in the elevator, because you know elevator etiquette is everybody just stares at the numbers. Nobody says anything. You try not to look sideways or down or up, and you try to keep your eyes on the numbers. Otherwise, people think you're weird. Anyhow, so I said in the middle of all that, I said, I wonder if somebody on this elevator has a birthday. How about if we just all sing happy birthday? Okay, well, here's the result of that. The next floor that where people were supposed to get off at, everybody got off. Nobody stayed on the elevator, including my two boys. They didn't want to be near me. They were so angry. And so words are powerful both positively and in the wrong context, negatively. Adjectives and adverbs. Why are they so important in our society? Adjectives are the qualities that an employer is looking for in an employee, that a teacher is looking for in a student, that a parent is looking for in a child. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, they are the same qualities that a child looks for in their parent, that a student looks for in their teachers, and that an employee looks for in their employer. Same qualities. In fact, if you wanted to list them, for those of you taking notes, if you wanted to list them, you know what they are? They're the same qualities that a parent trusts in a babysitter. That's right. So when a parent leaves their little children in your care, and I bet you a lot of you have been a babysitter, the qualities that a parent is looking for in a babysitter are the qualities that will carry you through the rest of your life. Those qualities don't change. And ladies and gentlemen, they're not nouns. They are all adjectives. And so here are three qualities that I want to speak about today, specifically to the seniors, but obviously you all get to listen in. I want you to be dynamic, I want you to be resilient, and I want you to be enthusiastic. Being dynamic. The great unpardonable sin is to live life in a dull way. Why are superhero movies blockbuster successes. From Rambo to Avengers. In fact, the new Avengers just broke all sale records. Wonder Woman, Batman, Black Panther, Spider-Man, all of them. Because, and this is true, especially of you seniors, but you younger ones may even understand this too. The older we get, the number of our heroes decrease. The number of our heroes decrease, and their influence over our life diminishes. In other words, because we live longer and longer, we get jaded as to who our heroes really are. And they become fewer and fewer in our life, and their influence diminishes because of the way they're living when we never knew they were living that way. I bet you if I hesitated and got real silent, you'd know what I was talking about. Yeah, it's happened to all of us. People have really disappointed us because there's a craving inside of our soul where we want good to win over evil, where we want right to win over wrong. And I'm encouraging you seniors as the next hope of this world, live your lives dynamically. Live your lives so that people notice. Your lives should not be average, because average is right between the bottom and the top. And that's not being dynamic. That's being average. Good enough is the motto for the average, but they don't sail any further than the shore. Dynamic comes from the Greek word dunamos, which we get our English word dynamic, or dynamite. We actually get our word power from it. Power from it. If you ever know anything about, if you ever watched on TV, and hopefully you haven't had experience with it, a stick of dynamite, when they light the fuse of it, it blows up. And it's put somewhere in resistance. In other words, if they put a stick of dynamite out in the desert on top of a rock, it would not serve its purpose. It would be loud, but that's not the purpose of dynamite. The purpose of dynamite is to be put where there's resistance. They drill holes in mountains to cut roadways through, and they stick dynamite and blow up. In other words, it has to have resistance surrounding it in order for it to have its purpose. So to be dynamic, to be powerful, you have to have resistance in your life. If you have no resistance in your life, you have no power, because that's what it means, is to move that which surrounds you. Resistance or no resistance will dictate your power. History has never been moved by the masses. Never been moved by the average, which is just as close to the bottom as it is to the top, but by the boundless, the spirited, and the dynamic. However, being dynamic will involve pressure. The world will pick a fight with you. So if you want to avoid all pressure, because we have a society that loves to say they're stressed out, if you want to avoid all pressure, then say nothing, do nothing, be nothing, and you won't have any pressure. But that's not a dynamic life. Secondly, and this brings me to the point of resiliency. Be a resilient person. Resilient is an adjective, and it means to bounce back. If I had a basketball with me, you would know that when you push a basketball down, it bounces back up. When you push it down harder, it bounces back higher. That's life. If you're going to be resilient, you know that life is going to push you down, but you're going to bounce back up. You know if it pushes you down even harder, if you're going through the toughest time of your life right now, if you will see your way through it and not make stupid, dumb choices in the middle of that, you will bounce back higher than you have ever been in life. There's not anybody that's been a leader in an education, in the world, in a country, in a company that does not have tremendous trials in their life. Be resilient. Be resilient. Think about a real basketball game, and let's pretend you were a player in it, and you just got fouled, and there's 1 second left, and you're down by 1 point. You get to take 2 shots. You're down by 1 point, you get to take 2 shots. That means if you make both shots as you dribble the ball, if you make both shots, you go into the locker room a hero. If you make 1 shot, the game goes into overtime. If you miss both shots, you lose the game for your team. I have never watched a young person, no matter how young they are or how old they are, whether they're professional or amateurs, I have never, ever seen somebody bounce the basketball at the foul line standing toe-to-toe with failure and saying, this is too much pressure for me. I've never seen them do that. And you young people are screaming examples to the older folks that resiliency is still there in your soul. You don't give up. You don't back down, in the words of the famous philosopher Tom Petty. You don't back down. You bounce back up, just like a basketball. But understand this about resiliency. If you're going to bounce back up, ladies and gentlemen, especially young people, understand this, that when you're standing at that foul line, half the bleachers are cheering for your success. And I bet you it's filled with all these people here. And half the bleachers are cheering for your failure. They don't want you to win. Get used to it. It's that way for the rest of your life. Now, that sounds pretty depressing, but if you understand that in this world expect trouble and that everybody is not going to be cheering for your success, you'll be just fine. You'll be more resilient because you'll lower your standards on half the crowd, and you will do just fine. However, being resilient will involve pressure. The world will pick a fight with you. So if you want to avoid all pressure, say nothing, do nothing, be nothing. And the last adjective is be enthusiastic. Be enthusiastic. Make a list of 5 favorite things you love to do. Make sure they're all legal. Make sure they're all legal. Make one of them your career. Kind of turn it into a commitment and then even into a calling, which is really pretty cool if you can do that with your career. I bet you a lot of your teachers have done that. I bet you the folks at River City Science Academy has done that. I wanted to see if the name was right there. They've turned it into a calling, not just a career. But make that list of 5 things and make one of them your career and your calling. But be enthusiastic about all of it. See, this world needs more backbones, not wishbones or jawbones or funny bones. It needs more backbones. People who do not complain about the weight of the burden, but they wonder how can they strengthen their back to make it better than ever. Be enthusiastic. I spoke at a UF dinner, University of Florida dinner, and it was all professors and from different institutes around the state. This was a few years ago. And I remember asking them a colossal question about being enthusiastic. I said to them, does a college degree, you all work in colleges, you're professors, you're department heads, does a college degree give you the right to become dull? And then I asked them the question, can every single one of you remember one educator that made a difference in your life? Can you all do that? They all raised their hand. Most people can. They can remember. For me, it was my 3rd grade teacher. I was adopted at 5 years old from Athens, Greece. I was put in a foster care system that was highly abusive, every kind of abuse you can imagine. And then I was adopted, and then I put in school, but I couldn't read. And Miss Allers helped me read in 3rd grade. She's the teacher that I remember. I bet you can all remember. But this group of college professors, nearly every single one of them said, yeah, I can remember somebody. I said, what grade was that teacher? And they all cited elementary, middle, and high school. Now, I don't know if you call what I just said. These are college professors that couldn't name a professor that made a difference in their life. Did you catch that? And so the challenge to them is, you guys need to be somebody that an adult remembers making a huge difference in your life. But right now you're not. Because sometimes getting college degrees and becoming a brainiac makes us a very dull person. And so being enthusiastic is important because it will work for you in every single category of life. When you get in your car tonight, think of this. Your rearview mirror, no matter how rich the car is, no matter how poor the car is, no matter how old or new or big or small, the car's rearview mirror is about the same size. They have tested making them bigger, but then it blocks your forward focus. They tested taking them off or making them smaller, but then you can't see behind you. So the average ratio is 1 to 20. It's about 1/20th the size of the front windshield. So you say, what's the point? Every time you get in your car, you can imagine that your life should be spent 1 minute looking backwards, complaining about what life has done to you, and 19 minutes looking forward. That's enthusiasm. The famous philosopher Mick Jagger, yes, from the Rolling Stones, once said, you don't always get what you want. And isn't that true? But if you keep looking forward, and when people ask you, what do you want to become someday? You seniors will answer, I want to be dynamic, resilient, and enthusiastic, or any other adjective you want to use. So don't chase titles, choose testimony. Don't gather labels, garner a legacy, and worry less about degrees behind your name and more about temperature. I'll let that one settle in your brain. Worry less about degrees and more about temperature. You cannot burn out until you've caught on fire. So seniors, pursue your dreams with enthusiasm. Be careful of disposable pleasures. Chase the dynamic pursuits. Leave no ruts. Blaze new trails. And as Tom Petty once said, don't back down. Thank you very much.